Hello, welcome to another edition of PlusUltra Reviews brought to you by the Bros Who Think podcast. Yes, we are back reviewing My Hero Academia chapter 221. And like we do with all of these reviews, we like to start off with an intro, giving you guys a look back at what happened last week before we get to this week, and then give you a little bit of my thoughts. And then after the review, as always, we'll get into the discussion. I'll predict what's coming next, as well as give you my thoughts for the world. Now, last week's chapter, or 2 weeks ago or last week's chapter, it seemed like the League of Villains were at a loss. You see them going after the CRC to get some money. They're trying to steal money to get not only equipments fixed and booted up, but to have money to run more schemes. You have to have money to be a villain. Isn't that hilarious? Like, I remember, for example, on Batman the Animated Series, when Joker ran out of money, he couldn't run any schemes. He was telling Harley, like, look, we have to have cash flow to do all these crazy things. Same thing applies here. The League of Villains are out of money. So they go to try to rob the CRC. CRC has no money. And in that chapter, like I said in the last review, I thought it was interesting that we see a racial divide amongst villains. This CRC is a hate group that specifically targets mutant quirked people. So I think that's very interesting to see the world build and the world expand. It's not just black and white. Villains are evil, heroes are this. We saw that before with Stain, and now we're seeing it with a different type of villain. We're seeing them hate people based upon their quirks, and it's a modern day racist. Let's get into what kind of transitioned us into this chapter. The chapter pretty much ends with All For One's bodyguard dropping down on Tomer and the gang, and he's like, I need you to prove that you're worthy, blah, blah, blah. I need you to show me that you're worth, show me your might, show me that you were All For One's successor. And Tomer's just sitting there like, what, bro? Like, but this is the guy that Kiriguri has been looking for. He's been looking for the doctor. They throw the radio down, and the doctor, the last thing he asks him, seems like you're at a loss, Tomer. So I guess going forward into this chapter, we get to see how the doctor responds to Tomer's decision. We don't know what Tomer's demands are at this point until we get into the review, obviously. But at this point, at the end of chapter 220, Tomer is trying to find what to do next to proceed to become the true successor of All For One. And with that being said, I thought chapter 220 was a good chapter. I'm really excited to get into chapter 221. So, without further ado, let's get into the review. We see chapter 221, All For One's parting gift, begin with a conversation between Tomer and the doctor that I didn't see coming. The doctor seems very, very comfortable with Tomer. It seems more comfortable than we were led to believe, because it seemed like the doctor and All For One were the only people who communicated. At least that's what we led to believe. Although one would assume, because the doctor was All For One's right-hand man, that he would have a connection with Tomer. I just didn't think it was at this length. We see the doctor ask him if he's all right, him and his friends, and then Tomer is like, bro, what's up with this monster? What's up with this hulking creature? He's about to beat us all up. We find out that the creature's name is Gigantomachia, and he used to be All For One's bodyguard, and out of all the people, this is the person that All For One trusts the most, because Giganta is the man that's always there for him. He has this crazy stamina, and he can possess multiple quirks without any modifications. He is the ultimate weapon. That I understand why he has him as his bodyguard. Wouldn't you want to have him? I mean, look at this guy. This brute is hulking. He's taking out the League of Villains with no shame, no remorse, and he's just crying. He's crying because he can't accept the fact that Tomer is the replacement. He doesn't think Shigaraki's worth it. He doesn't think he does not think he lives up to All For One. You're telling me this punk kid is the successor of All For One? You're telling me I have to follow this kid? I can't accept him. I can't accept him, All For One. And then the doctor goes on to say that this is All For One's power, and he knew that All Might was weak, and so he hid him. He hid him before he even found Tomer. I thought that was very very crucial as well. I thought that was very interesting because it shows you how calculated All For One is. All For One has had this planned out for a while now, and he realized All Might was losing his power. It was time for him to get a successor, and he planned it key, step by step. He is ready for everything that All Might can throw at him, and well, at least he believes he is. I'm just ready to see, has he taken the precautions to the Shigaraki know that he is All Might's master's grandson? That's what I want to know. But it's interesting that I point that out because later on in the chapter, we will get to more of that. So the chapter continues. We see Dabi begin to fight Giganto. Dabi's trying to do his fire thing. It's not working, and the Giganto's just going ham. He's kicking butt, and the doctor's like, do you think you can obtain anything by just wishing for it? Shigaraki, you spent too much time with Kirigiri. He thinks he made him soft, and Tomoe tells him that's cold of him, and he's like, just hold on a second, I'm gonna take care of this. And the way he stops the beast from attacking is he basically plays the recording of All For One's voice, and after he does that, he does the move that he did to escape from all of the heroes when Kirigiri wasn't there, when the sludge all came out of their mouths, and he transported them to his lair. Now, this is the first time we've seen the doctor or his lair. We actually find out he has a fake name, and lo and behold, he gives the guys a fake name, but I'm jumping ahead. So they're at the lair. We see everybody's like, what the hell's going on? They're noticing all these different Nomu. The doctor comes in and bursts. This is his super Nomu. They're close. They're one step close to a masterpiece. They're high end, and you should be surprised because they're not like the old Nomu. Then they can do crazier things. They're a lot stronger, but we don't go into depth. I'm theorizing that we've seen strength Nomu. We've seen the big hulking when they fought All Might. We've seen the different types, the ones that flew, that fought Endeavor. We see all the different types of Nomu. I'm assuming that these high class Nomu are just like Giganto and can handle multiple quirks. That's my guess. If I'm wrong, well, I'll let you guys know I'm wrong, but that's my prediction. I'm predicting that these super Nomu can use multiple quirks. So he said they're not low end products. He was impressed that Dabi could tell the difference, and that was something interesting. That Dabi was very intelligent. He was quick to jump to things. It seems like Dabi's definitely second in command. Now the doctor asked Shigaraki, like how Shigaraki tells him, I've been searching for you on my own request, and the doctor's like, he's not even asking me things. He's just like, bro, your hair's grown, Shigaraki. Are your father and everyone else well? Shigaraki says, yeah. That's interesting that he mentions his father, and I think that's interesting because of the point that I said before with All Might's master being his grandmother. Is that his father's mom? How does his father feel? How does his father connect to All For One? I want to know more about Shigaraki's past due to the fact that our ties with All Might, and I want to know how his family stands. Does Shigaraki know? Did something happen between the dad? Did they blame All Might? I would like to know all this. The doctor's very secretive of his appearance. He tells them stay away. If he violates this rule, he'll send them back. Dabi's like, we just need to get down to business. And he tells Shigaraki, look, the reason I summoned you here is because I made a compromise for All For One. All of this is yours, but you haven't accomplished a damn thing. You haven't accomplished anything. So he wants to know, what are you trash of society gonna show him? What are you gonna show him, Shigaraki? What's your worth? What's your plan? And basically, this is how the chapter ends, and we're gonna get into how Shigaraki moves going forward. I hope that we see some dinner at stuff coming in next week. Now, let's get into the discussion. What a dope chapter. Time to get into discussion. Look, first off, we find out the name of the bodyguard. His name is Giganto Machia. Super strong dude, super loyal to All For One. It's interesting, All For One was so calculated that he knew All Might's demise was coming long before he even found Shigaraki, and he hid him. This dude is so strong and so loyal. It's going to be interesting to see how Deku and the gang handle him when they finally go for the final match against Tomura and All For One. But it comes with a cost. Tomura hasn't achieved anything really in the eyes of the doctor, in the eyes of the bodyguard, Giganto, and he doesn't even think he's worthy of being the successor to All For One. And he's like, I'm beating all y'all up. I don't mess with y'all. And I thought it was interesting. We see Dobby kind of handle his own, but everybody else is struggling, and they were about to die. And if the doctor didn't play the voice of All For One, it was over. And speaking of that crazy doctor, he looked just like from Sonic, Dr. Robotnik. I think it's very interesting in this chapter that we're seeing pulls from DC, pulls from Sega. I really, really applaud the mangaka to My Hero. That's super, super dope. So the doctor transports them to his lair, and it's like he's trying to hide his identity. He doesn't want it. No loose ends. Zero. And it's basically like, you guys ain't done shit. I have all this amazing new Nomu ready for you. By the way, stronger than the old Nomu, so it's going to be interesting. It took Endeavor to go freaking Afterburner, and it took All Might's like super mega United States of Smash to beat that Nomu. So both of those guys have to give their all. It's going to be interesting to see what these high-grade Nomu can do. And we've seen Nomu with strength. We've seen Nomu with flight. We've seen different styles of Nomu. I wonder if this high-grade Nomu, if I had to predict, I bet they combine the strength, the flight, and all the multiple quirks into one to make this quote-unquote high-grade Nomu. Now, the doctor is not only very suspicious because he transported them there using the black goo transporter instead of Kirigiri. He's doing it himself, and he doesn't tell them his address. He's like, don't even come close. I don't want you guys to see me because I'll let you guys see me when you're ready. But it seems that him and Tomura have a past relationship. They know each other, and Tomura has seen him because he asked Tomura, which I thought was very interesting, how's your father and the others? So I wonder, does Tomura know that he's the grandson of All Might's master? If he doesn't know that, that's going to be very interesting in the final battle between Deku, or if All Might ever runs into him, because that conversation has to happen. We can't forget that. So I thought it was very interesting that we pointed out his father. We have had no mention of Tomura's family besides All Might's mentor, and this is the first time we hear about his father and his others. I wonder if he has brothers. This is going to be very interesting to look into. But the doctor gave everybody a fake name. He straight up he was like, yo, I'm I had to write it down. He's Daruma Ujiko. And I was like, that's bad. Dr. Robotnik ain't playing around. He is like, straight up, you guys can't know me because I don't think y'all are ready. But when y'all are ready, I'm going to show y'all and I'm going to help y'all. And the next chapter is going to be interesting because we get to find out what's Tomura's next move, what's his play. I assume they bring Dinnerette back into this because at this point, it's just been My Villain Academia. So I assume we're going to see how Dinnerette involves with Tomura and to see what Shigaraki's next move is going forward. Because now that you're with the doctor, you're with All For Ones, you basically have everything All For One left you. These guys don't think you're worthy. It's time to prove you're worthy. And how do you show that? I also thought it was very interesting that Dobby was the most, I guess, intelligent in this chapter of the bunch. He, out of everybody in the League of Villains besides Tomura, because he knew what was going on, he showed brilliance as a villain. He showed the doctor that he was capable of being among this League of Villains. So it's going to be very interesting to see how we move forward. I rate this chapter solid 3 out of 5. And I forgot to do the rating of last chapter. Last chapter, I'd probably do it as like a 3 out of 5. This chapter, actually, I'll give this chapter 3.5 because you learn about the doctor, you learn a little more. I'm always about learning and building to the next great thing and expanding this world. We're slowly expanding this world one by one. And like I said, can't wait to see about the Nomu. Can't wait to understand about his father and everything else about Tomura. And can't wait to see what his plan is involving the doctor. But thank you for checking out this episode of PlusUltra Reviews, Chapter 221 of My Hero Academia. Be sure to subscribe to the BrosWhoThink Network on YouTube. Be sure to check out #Anime Talk, the foundation, the flagship podcast where we talk anime news, where we answer your questions, where we review the latest anime going on in the world of anime. And also be sure to look out for that Hell Warden review, chapter 12 and 13, I believe, the latest chapters. Be on the lookout for that. But if you like this video, why not subscribe? Subscribe, please, and thank you. And thank you to everybody who watched the first My Hero Academia chapter review. We're going to keep them coming for you guys because I really enjoy this series, as well as start doing discussions on the individual characters in My Hero and some of the plot lines and some of the things going forward that we could poke holes at, like what will Deku's next quirks be? We're going to do some videos like that as well. But thank you for checking out this review. And like I said, please remember to subscribe and enjoy your weekend. Until next time, until I'm talking to you guys again, reviewing My Hero. Peace.